UK must work more closely with Europe to confront intense and unrelenting terrorist threat, says Andrew Parker. The Director General of the Security Service says it is vital the UK continues to liaise with European allies to confront terrorism and pernicious state-sponsored actions. PA Britain needs to work more closely than ever with European states in order to confront the intense and unrelenting international terrorist threat, as well as unprecedented levels of aggressive and pernicious actions by Vladimir Putin's Russia, the head of MI5 will stress on Monday. Terrorist atrocities, with the potential to inflict widespread deaths and injuries, have been thwarted in Britain at the rate of one every month since the Westminster attack in March 2017, Andrew Parker will say, while also pointing out that the threat from ISIS remains as lethal and active as ever. At the same time, the attempted assassinations of Sergei and Yulia Skripal, with the first use of a nerve agent in Europe for the first time since the Second World War, was a shocking and graphic example of how the country is facing unprecedented illicit violence by the Kremlin. The Salisbury attack, Mr. Parker says, was a deliberate and targeted malign activity. The Director General of the Security Service will use his first public speech outside the UK, and his first since the Salisbury attack, to stress the vital need to maintain and increase liaison action with European allies to confront what he and his colleagues regard as clear and present dangers from terrorism and state-sponsored undercover warfare. The address in Berlin comes at a time when there is deep concern about security cooperation with the European Union amid the bitter angling following the UK vote to leave the European Union and the prospect of a hard Brexit. In the latest acrimonious chapter, Theresa May's government has threatened to lessen security cooperation with former European Union partners if London cannot continue to use information post-Brexit from the Galileo satellite system. The European Commission has declared that one of the control centres of the system will be moved from the UK to Spain. In a recent report, the Commons Home Affairs Select Committee warned, the government risks sleepwalking into a crisis by appearing to assume that the shared UK-EU interest in security cooperation will lead to swift and easy agreement of complex legal and constitutional problems. Moscow has been accused of interference in favor of the Leave campaign in the Brexit referendum and the US presidential election that took Donald Trump to the White House, as well as elections in France, Germany, Italy, and Catalonia. Condemning what he termed the unprecedented amount of disinformation, the MI5 chief will stress the urgent need to shine a light through the fog of lies, half-truths and obfuscation that pours out of their propaganda machines. Mr. Parker will thank European states for showing solidarity with Britain following the Salisbury attack by expelling Russian officials working under diplomatic credentials from their countries. Turning to terrorism, Mr. Parker will say there have been 45 terrorist attacks across Europe in the last 2 years, highlighting the need for the UK and its continental partners to work with each other. Effective security partnership is imperative. In today's uncertain world we need that shared strength more than ever, he will say. Reflecting on his 35 years in the security field, Mr. Parker will say, European intelligence cooperation today is simply unrecognizable to what it looked like 5 years ago. The counterterrorism group is the largest multinational counterterrorism enterprise in the world where real-time intelligence sharing taking place every day involves thousands of exchanges on advanced security networks every week. Need for vigilance, the Director General maintains, has not lessened with ISIS suffering battlefield losses in Syria and Iraq. ISIS still aspires to direct devastating and more complex attacks despite territorial losses. But, he insists, MI5 the police and other security agencies in the UK are able to confront the danger. He will say he is confident about our ability to tackle these threats, because of the strength and resilience of our democratic systems, the resilience of our societies and the values that we share with our European partners. More about MI5 Intelligence Services Terrorism Salisbury attack. Reuse content. We use cookies to enhance your visits to our site and to bring you advertisements that might interest you. Read our privacy and cookie policies to find out more.